It is February 11th, 2024. This is Darcy's Corner, and I'm going to talk a little bit about ADHD and how I learned how to manage that when I was reading as a kid. Because I love reading. Okay, I love it now, but I loved it when I was a kid because you could go into a world and now you're fighting dragons or you're dealing with things that are not in your world now, but if you're into that book, like it's in your head and you can see these things happening in front of you, and the story is meaningful to you, right? But it took me a while to develop that skill sufficiently. And when I think I was 12, 11 or 12, and I was in the eighth grade, and I was reading these different fantasy novels, and my one teacher seen that I was doing that, and she wanted to encourage it. She says, "Oh, you should read The Hobbit." Okay. I don't know what The Hobbit's about, but I'll go take a look. And so I checked it out of the library and I was trying to read it and I couldn't get past the first chapter. And it's because the ADHD and I hadn't learned some skills yet when it came to reading. Oh, later on we'll play in his back and you hear that ding. Like, what was that? It was something. It was a phone or a tablet. Anyway, I digress. You can see the ADHD is still working. I get distracted by shiny things and bells and whistles all the time. Anyway, so I'm a kid and I'm trying to read The Hobbit, and he goes into exquisite detail about like doorknobs and like I don't know. He'll take the most mundane thing and he'll focus on it, and he'll spend a good paragraph or two describing, the house, the doorknob, the grain in the wood, and it's nothing wrong with having a vivid picture, but like ADHD and I'm a kid, and how long can I be fascinated by a doorknob? So it was hard for me to read Tolkien's work because he did that so often. Movies are great. Hold on a second. Okay, I muted my phone so it can stop dinging and take me out of the moment. Anyway, so I'm reading J.R. Tolkien and I wasn't really getting the hang of it. But then later I read another series called the Earth Children series, or the Clan of the Cave Bear books is what I call them because that's what the first one's called. And you get through the first book and it's kind of, it's describing everything, but you're trying to figure out the world. But when you get into the second book, oftentimes what would take me out of the book is she would spend a lot of time describing a hillside or describing, a river or something. And it's not these things weren't important, but it took me out of the story, and I would get finished reading the paragraph or a couple of them, and then I wouldn't realize what I read. And then I learned, okay, this is how you skim. Like, I read the first couple of sentences, okay, we're talking about a hillside. Let's go to the bottom. Story carries on. Right? And then you just, okay, and this is what they did on that hillside. So that's fine. But I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn how to skim through paragraphs so that I could keep my mind on the story and skip over the boring parts. And other times, like, because it's a 6-book series, they refer to things that happen in previous books. But then I'm like, I read that book, so I can go, okay, this is talking about this person here and what they did in that time. Okay, let's go to the bottom. Because I read the first one and it made an impression on me. I know that story. I don't have to read it again. But each of the books is meant to be like if you just picked it up for the first time and that's the first one you picked up and you picked up book number 3, you can read book number 3, not have read book number 1, and still understand the story. So I get that. But anyway, that was a skill I learned from reading those books, was how to skim and how to stay in the story. And that skill has served me well, and I have been able to broaden my horizons, and read all kinds of things that maybe I wouldn't have read before because I know how to do that now. Sometimes if you're reading something and it's boring or it's, they're talking about a hillside or something, if that paragraph is a long one, you just go, okay, this is a description of the blades of grass on that hillside. Great. Okay, next. Anyway, I just wanted to share that. The imagination is a beautiful thing. ADHD is a beautiful thing. You just have to learn how it works for you and how you can best manage it so that you can get the best experiences of whatever it is you're doing. Whether you're learning a new topic, reading a new book, watching a movie, talking with friends, this is how I focus. This is how I pay attention to what you're saying. And I'm not just waiting to speak. I am listening to what you're saying and I am caring about you. Right? These are skills that we just develop over time. And we're always working at them. Anyway, this is Darci's Corner. Just talking about reading skills and how much I love reading. I love going into fantasy worlds. And even real worlds. Sometimes I'll read stuff like Christopher Reeve's autobiography. And, you know, I want to know what Superman had to say. He had to say a lot. He was a smart man. I digress. Darci's Corner. Sorry if this one was boring. Peace.